My name is Jedidiah Brown, pastor of Chosen Generation, national president of Young Leaders Alliance. So last Monday, when I left the conference that was at Diane Latiker's Kids Off the Block with the mayor and a few other community leaders at a prayer vigil, I noticed that while we were there talking about how we must stop the violence, she had a for rent sign on her business. And I kind of felt bad, and I thought that it was insulting that we would be doing a press conference to stop the violence, and then while we're allowing an opportunity for even the young people of Roseland to be taken away from them or to be threatened to be taken away. So I went out with some guys that I know, or make some phone calls, and found out that some guys that I knew were on the west side, because I was already on the west side. I had just got done having lunch with a pastor on the west side, and while we were outside, a car pulled up. It's kind of dark outside, and the car pulled up a little bit past me. And when the car pulled up, the two gentlemen that was in the car began to have a conversation with one of the gentlemen that was with me. And they had a little bit of an exchange. I didn't hear exactly what they said, and I yelled. I said, "We're not on that today." When I did that, that car drove off. That young man that they were talking to, he asked me could he see my phone. He wanted to see my phone because he wanted to call for other people in the area that he knew. I did not know at the time. I know now, because he had already knew that they had beef. I didn't know they had beef, so that it was an isolated incident. It wasn't random. So I gave him my phone, and as soon as I unlocked it, I said, "This is how you unlock my phone," and I put my phone in his hand. That's when the car had came back and they were shooting. When we started hearing the shooting, we thought it was fireworks until, you know, and everything's happening fast, turn around and see, no, we actually being shot at. So we kind of dispersed in our different ways. We dispersed, and I'm just basically roaming the park. I was very shaken up by it. I got to be honest, I was afraid that I thought I was going to lose my life while I was being shot. So I took a moment to thank God and look for the guys. When I looked for the guys, I found everybody. One by one, really, we found each other, thinking that each other had got shot. I found a young man who actually had my phone. He was crying. And when we got back to the vehicle that I was driving, which was a rental car, because I had just also came right off of the road from Atlanta, Georgia, when I did the press conference that led to me going out, that led to the shooting. And when I got back to the car, I plugged in my phone. And once I plugged in my phone, literally just notifications everywhere about people saying, "Am I okay?" On Facebook, my voicemail was full, my text messages was full, and I had got the call. When I put the phone in, I got the call from my mother, and my mother asked me not to say anything to anybody, don't respond to nobody, don't answer any calls, don't do anything on Facebook, but to get to them where my family was, which was at the building where Young Leaders Alliance was. And when I got there, it was a bunch of people outside from Young Leaders Alliance, from my family, from the community, that had both been at the chapter and at my home, and the rest is history. Well, after my mother asked me not to speak to anybody because she wanted me to get to my family safely first. And once I got to them, everybody found out that I was okay, the family left, and I was pretty much, everything had kind of come down a little bit. I had spoke to the WGN reporters, and I told them I didn't mind doing the interview because obviously the media was notified of the situation as well. And I did it because, let me tell you something. Every time I show up at a scene where there's a shooting, I always encourage the family in the moment of tragedy and calamity. I ask them, I have to really encourage them, console them, and counsel them to take the courage to even talk to the reporters so that the message can get out, and that they could ask the violence be stopped, and that the police do their job. And I tell them that to do that in the sense of being brave and to taking courage. So then when my time comes, why wouldn't I do the same thing that I'm asking for them to do, which is make sure that you speak out on it and bring awareness to the issue. Everybody thought, it was 4 of us total. Everybody thought that everybody got shot. You disperse. We don't know what's going on. All we know is that there's a shooting, you run, you panic, you go. And I was the one that was pursued, but even I thought that they got shot. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What I can't, you know, you're panicking, you're trying to figure out what's going on. yeah, we all thought each other was shot, and I commend him once again, as I did in person, because there's an application on my phone called App Locker, and I lock certain things on my phone. So my contacts is definitely locked because I got some very important people contact numbers in my phone, and he couldn't get to anybody. And I thank him for going on Facebook, which everybody know I live on, and saying that I got shot in his thinking so that people could become aware. And like he said, I wouldn't be out there bogus, laid out, dead. The story is not made up, and it's really sad because most of the people who is accusing it of it being a made-up story are people who look like me. These are the people who, if we just be honest, you know, if you really pay attention, this is not something that I just did or do. I've been doing this consistently. Read my posts, my blogs. I couldn't have been making this up for over a year and a half now. If you read my posts, you see me always in the community, always responding to these situations, and it's just really sad. So these people should really, in my opinion, they should be trying to figure out how could we come together and solve this issue versus how could they try to find a way to discredit me and destroy it as something that's a myth. But it's real, and if they read like what DNA put on the newspaper, if they actually can read, then they will see that the reporter saw the young man was with me. The young man was with me in the car when I got interviewed by DNA the next day.